Hi, everyone. Welcome to DomainSherpa and happy Sherpaween. And thank you for tuning into the podcast with the best domain name and digital asset content in the world. Today's episode is our annual Halloween episode featuring Braden, Shane, and Jen. And in line with our tradition, everybody's in costume. Today, we skip the domain game, but we still have the NameJetGonnaJet segment sponsored by NameJet. And we talk about some domains coming up for auction, including magician.net, seniors.org, deadheads.com, and youradhere.com. And then we talk about some of the upcoming domain conferences, and we also touch on how the Afternic Boost program is working for the Sherpas. All that and more is coming up on today's show. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at DomainSherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. Pro tip, if you watch the show, you actually get to see all the costumes. And you can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and other podcast platforms as well. So please make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button everywhere that you can and help Domain Sherpa grow the pie. We also integrate our shows with Muse.ai, which provides search functionality for the shows and transcripts as well. So definitely check all that out. And big shout out to DNWE, short for Domain Name Wholesale Exchange. It's a trading platform designed specifically for domain investors, streamlining the process of buying and selling domain names to make it quicker and easier. With a community of over 3,500 investors, DNWE enhances market liquidity, facilitating more efficient transactions with standard domain listings, reverse auctions, standard auctions, and soon to be added portfolio auctions, including traffic portfolios. DNWE is part of EW3N, which is a family-run digital asset investment company based in London, England, that also operates DomainManage.com, which is a global sales platform, and Brandable.uk, a marketplace for UK and Co.uk domain names. And shout out to our own business, Media Options, the #1 domain broker in the world. Find out more at MediaOptions.com, where you can also sign up for our newsletter for the best domain names and domain opportunities available in the market every week, and also featuring key insights and other helpful information related to branding, naming, and domain investing. So now, with all of that, it's time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Happy Sherpaween.
Here in the forest, dark and deep, I offer you eternal sleep.
What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. Happy Sherpaween. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jayon, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, a.k.a. Charlie Brown. And I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is our Sherpaween show, but we're going to treat it somewhat like a Domain Sherpa review. We're going to skip the domain game. We're just going to kind of BS instead about whatever we feel like talking about. We will review a list of NameJet names, so we will do some NameJetGonnaJet, reviewing some domains that are coming up for auction to see what the Sherpas like and what they don't like. And then, we'll close out with our grand closing, kind of the way we do what we do. But let's get right into the Halloween party. This is our annual jam. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate my co-host coming on and doing the costume thing, because it just makes it awesome. So let's go ahead over to my right. I got my boy, Rob Marciano, a.k.a. Shane Culture, a.k.a. Sugar Shane, a.k.a. Honey Shane, a.k.a. Mike Rowe, a.k.a. Blame It on the Shane, a.k.a. Chain. What's going on, man? How we doing? Where are you reporting from? And what does the weather look like there?
Not great. I'm going to be real honest with you. We got 15-foot surfs behind us and rising. 150 mile an hour possible winds. I beg all of you, stay safe, but I will still make it rain later in the month.
We're always making it rain out here. You're like one of the, are you like one of those dudes that you're like holding onto the pole and you're like, it's so crazy out
and
here.
Then somebody comes like walking by with a baby stroller.
Like some old lady comes past you, like, oh, that's weird.
I love those videos where like terrible winds out here. And then there's some guy like walking his little chihuahua and looking at the camera. And he's like, you should get home. It's not safe out here. He's like, I'll get home. So
I feel like you are right in the mix, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's awesome. The only thing, if I'm not even trying to nitpick, I guess if you went with like a wallpaper where it like was like a video wallpaper with
I wasn't sure if I could. So costume. There's a whole art to Zoom costuming. I've realized like it's a different setup than a body costume. So it's about the background. But I didn't know.
How do you mean? What? How does that? What do you mean?
Well, can we do video? Like I wasn't sure. Like, could I have a? Could I change the screen? Could I have a forecast? Could I do a 3-minute forecast with a live video behind me?
Yes.
I'm sure that's possible. But Not willing to put the effort, obviously, but
I'll tell you, I mean, it really is. I think you're right about this idea of like the art of Zoom costuming, because with the backgrounds, like you really have the ability, you're
this
right.
doesn't work. This just looks like it's about to rain in Central Illinois, but you throw the background on it, man.
Dude,
like,
I mean, I'm right now. Do I need to like stock up on canned goods? Like, right, do I need to evacuate? Like, what is going on?
I'm thinking about having more Zoom costume parties. It's way easier and a lot more fun.
Yeah, well, I will say that when we first when COVID first hit and everybody went remote for the first time, I would do that in some of the early Zoom meetings. I would throw on like a basketball jersey and put a basketball at like the gym behind me, and then that lasted for like 3 days, and then it's like, all right, now we're working. You know what I mean? And it was like, I don't have the, I cannot continue to entertain you all, type of thing.
Yeah.
But I love it, man. Well, that's what's up. Well, let's keep it moving. To my lower right, we've got the one and only Barbie, aka Jen Sale, aka Aussie Osborne, aka Olivia Newton-Jen, aka Rocket Isle Dundee, aka Melbourne to be wild, sipping on Jen and juice. What's up, homegirl? How are you?
Great. Thanks, Ken. I'm just going to call all of you Ken for this whole entire episode.
I didn't see the movie. I did not see the Barbie movie. So is that like, has everyone else seen it? Is everybody else like?
It's pretty good.
Y'all saw it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not as good as a really like category 4 tornado or hurricane, but it was good.
I've not seen it.
So that's where we are, so just to be clear, but does she call everybody Ken in the movie? Is that like a thing?
Well, yeah, like everyone's like, they're just like Kens and Barbies. There are a few like outliers, like there's Alan and then there's Midge and there's a few others, but I was like a Barbie fanatic growing up. And because I know that Drew really loves Barbie, I thought he would love it if I came as stereotypical Barbie to Sherpaween. So hi, Drew.
I dig it.
Hey, did you have the divorced Barbie when you were a kid?
No, there is a divorce one, and there's like pregnant Barbie. There's some weird ones.
Divorced Barbie comes with all of Ken's stuff.
I thought it was half of Ken's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't actually think there's a divorced one, but there was like ones where they got like really weird with kind of like trying to dive into the psyche of like young girls, and it got weird. It got weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Ken's
really
girlfriend,
like Barbie,
much younger girlfriend.
What's that?
The new doll that came out is Ken's much younger girlfriend.
Oh yeah. Like all these like life scenarios that just make it super awkward.
Yeah, it's called like the DiCaprio edition.
Yeah, exactly. Barely legal. All right, well, cool. With that, we'll keep ourselves from getting canceled for a little bit if we can help it. All right. And below me, we have the one and only clown pilot himself, Braden Pollock, aka Tony Stark, aka Benjamin Button, aka Eat, Bray, Love, aka Braden Statham, aka Braden Pollockton, the Archduke of Calabasas, and the former Archduke of Calabasas, now the Viscount of Woodland Hills.
Yeah,
it's not that
never lived in Calabasas.
It doesn't matter. Why do you always have to qualify it, man? A title's a title. You know what I'm saying?
This is part of the intro.
It is part of the intro. And it's also not that your domain is worthless. It's just that it's worth less. And so, yeah, what's up, man? So I'm glad. Well, thank you for, first of all, you came on saying, hey, I know it's a lazy costume, as is your way, right? You just I just grabbed some things. So I'm also like, but why do you have in your house the fucking clown wig and the pilot hat?
I don't want to know. I don't
either.
Like, I don't want to know.
Skip the question. I know what the pilot hat's for, but I don't.
I thought you were going to ask me why I'm not wearing pants.
I thought that's just part of the costume. You understand? Like, of course, clown pilot doesn't wear pants. So
don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, exactly. So well, hey, happy Sherpaween, everybody. This is anybody got any big Halloween plans? You guys doing anything cool for Halloween?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn off the lights and go in the basement and watch a movie because my dog barks the whole time. That's it down. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but when you have a dog that barks every time someone comes to the window or to the door, Halloween is not as fun, I will say. How do you handle the dog? You have a dog, don't you?
Yeah, we have 2 dogs.
They
Typically
don't bark?
well, so here's the deal. Our house is kind of isolated, so we don't get a whole lot of trick-or-treaters, you know. They got to be pretty adventurous.
That's what
to try to
happens in
get-
giant rich neighborhoods. The space between the giant homes, like they have cars.
It's that I live like literally in the swamp. So if they want to come all the way down the driveway and I've also got the 12-foot skeleton. Actually, he's like 13 feet. I have this 13-foot skeleton that's just kind of hanging at the front, sort of like where my actual property starts. So, you know, that actually might draw more.
Braden's gate.
trick-or-treaters.
They just ring the bell at the gate. Hey, do you have any
He sets
candy
it so
up
they
there?
get zapped when they ring the bell.
I
you
would
know?
make them walk up your driveway. Like if they walk up your driveway, Braden, they earn candy because they're gonna burn
100%.
like
like
600
150 calories just
Yeah.
getting to your door.
Yeah, that's true. Like what happens is almost nobody ever comes up the driveway, but like I'd say every 2 or 3 years is that one sweaty fat kid that comes up to the top, and I'm like, here, take it off. That's all you
And he's like, and that's literally his dream. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, he's like, this is what I do every Halloween. I
No,
fight
it's
the hill.
same. It's the same kid that comes at. He's
That's what
32
I'm
now.
saying. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I fight the hill and I get the candy. It's literally like, that is his adventure. That
And
is
to
his
be
odyssey.
fair, even when I was staying with Braden, I looked at the hill and thought, do I want to stay here? Like it's I live in Colorado and the driveways are not as steep as Braden's.
Oh, Braden's driveway is crazy. It's like,
it's-
it's like a 90-degree
It's-
angle. dude.
It's straight. You can touch his house by just reaching up. You don't have to walk, but to get there, you have to. At least you put out a
Traverse.
ladder, so that was cool.
Well, you know, so I lived in this house for 20 years before I moved, and then I moved to this house where it was the whole property was flat. There was no slope anywhere. The driveway was flat right into the garage. It was flat to the front door. And I was like, this is awesome. It's just so easy to go from the street right into my house. It was so different. There was no struggle.
Like, I can roll.
And then I came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm
Hey.
climbing the hill again.
Well,
Okay, at least it
if
doesn't
any if any area people are watching, there's some big candy at the top of the hill.
Yeah. So, yeah. And at our house, so what we'll typically do is I'll put a table partway down the driveway. And then that way, you know, the kids don't have to come all the way to the property to realize that, you know, that there's not, and anyone that crosses that, then it's a different type of deal. It's like that crazy haunted house situation. Have you guys heard there's like the one where you have to sign the waiver and if you survive it, you get like if you literally like, you know, I think you get like $100,000 or something nuts. There's a couple of these. I mean, there's a few that are just like crazy that don't have the prize at the end. But I know there's the one that it's like if you survive it, you get paid.
Yeah, but
Just
that's
like-
bad. That one. That's the one where isn't that the one where they like waterboard you and stuff?
Uh-huh.
Like it's
Oh, yeah.
like
You have to sign the waivers that
not a
say
fun
I'm cool with
time.
I'm cool with
Yeah.
being shocked and touched and pushed and prodded and shaved. The one I read about shaved, literally shaved. The one I read about was in England and it was somewhere in the UK and that was the deal. They literally had them like they shaved them. They literally torture you until you're like, all right, fuck it, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, it's nuts to me. I just don't know what the like, you know, but it's the other one that's like the farm one here in the US that I am intrigued by. I don't know if it still exists, but it's supposedly like so nuts. No one's ever collected and they just absolutely, I'm like, I don't know. I would just, if for enough money, right? Like you think you could just curl up in a ball and just ignore
I've
it.
seen the video. I've seen the videos, JT, on YouTube of that place in America that does it, and it's not right. Like
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
I-
It's like insane. The whole idea of it is insane to me. And it's like, I
what a
gotta
fun
check.
time, guys.
And then you go in and they look to shave you and you're like, this dude's got no hair.
Exactly. I'm like, ha.
Stage
what are you gonna
2.
do? You know?
Back to the waterboarding.
Exactly. Like double waterboarding, you know? Like,
Bring the waterboard back in here.
I
The
thought
shade
that
guy's
I,
not going to
yeah.
be needed.
I thought I
It's funny
gave
that
this
Jen has seen videos. I've never even heard of this, and I live here.
yeah. Yeah, dude. It's somewhere in like Indiana or something like that. I think it's
Yeah,
like,
it
and it's supposed to be the kind of thing where, yeah, it's legitimately torture. And I'm just surprised there isn't more info. And maybe I just haven't researched it enough. But I went down the rabbit hole like one time, kind of, sort of, you know, to see like what the deal is. But they literally, you know, it's like they put you in, you're in some sort of
It's a
torture
business
barn.
model,
and-
though. I don't even on Shark Tank. I think they had a haunted house business where they showed the income, and it's a legit business. Like it's a in Australia. What do they do, Jen? What is is it the same thing? Like you go to a house and they give you knife candy?
Knife candy.
We don't. Halloween's not super popular here. It has grown, I would say, over the past like 10 years, a bit more because commercialism. But
Yeah, and chocolate doesn't hold there very well. So
yeah, but no, we do on the occasion get kids come to our place, and I always have something for them. But they're all just like little kids in our street, and they're in the cute costumes and stuff. Like, but yeah, it's not really a big thing here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Halloween is pretty cool here. I mean, obviously they do a big deal in Orlando, like, where they have like the Universal Studios and all the parks. I mean, Disney does their own thing, but the whatever they call the Universal one, like the Haunted Horror Nights or whatever, they've got Busch Gardens does some pretty crazy stuff where they set up these little haunted houses all throughout the park that you go through, and it's all the jump scares and all that kind of stuff. And recently we did an escape room for the first time. Have you guys ever done an escape room?
Yeah, many times. You've never done one?
We just did it for the first time, like no joke, like a month ago, and it was like the coolest thing. Super awesome.
They're
So
fun.
I'm
At
just way
first, I
behind the curve on
question why
escape
they're
rooms. I mean,
everywhere.
I've known that escape rooms are a thing. We just never really got to one. It was always like, oh yeah, at some point, we should do that, and then we finally did it, and I was like, this is like super dope.
Yeah, it's like now as a corporate retreat, it's like escape room, axe throwing. Like there's a list of 5 things they all
or in
do.
Vegas, machine guns and
Yeah,
pickleball.
exactly.
That's
Team
cool.
bond.
That's what we should do at one of these upcoming domain conferences. Is do an escape room, because that shit is.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
thought
fun.
it was super cool.
Yeah,
The comedy night was a lot of fun. That was super cool.
Yeah.
So
we
Escape
did
rooms
the-
are good for corporate events because of teamwork. You got to work with your coworkers to figure out how to get out and stuff. So
yeah,
that's
yeah. Well, I did it with my kids, and the first we were like idiots in the first minute, where it was like we had asked for a hint pretty quickly, just to get out of the. They're like, "You're not out of the lobby yet, sir. It hasn't started."
Sir, this is just the waiver.
Exactly. They're like, it actually hasn't started yet. And but after we got once we calibrated to okay, this is how this shit kind of works, then we did well. It was pretty cool, and it was just an awesome overall experience. But it was funny, it took getting the first thing to be oh, this is how you unlock. It was one of these Dracula's castle. You wake up in the prison and the jail, and you got to get out the door, and all that kind of stuff. Or like Braden says, Saturday night at his crib. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh gosh.
when I'm on a date. Yeah.
But oh, so good. Getting canceled is fun. It's just
I
the
went to
process
an
of getting
escape
canceled.
room. Was in Calabasas.
Exactly. Oh, it's an escape room in Woodland Hills. It's up the hill. It's at the top of the hill.
I don't remember what it was, but my legs are burning.
I want everyone to comment or tweet why they're listening to this drivel.
Because man, it's a Halloween, it's a holiday episode. We're going to talk about domains, but
I mean, I'm having fun, but I just don't know why anybody else would be listening.
If you're having fun, everybody else is having fun. That's what my mom.
Tell us why, if you're still watching, why you're watching, and let us know what you
why
want.
are you here?
and then let us know what you're doing. And let us know what you're being for Halloween, and if you got to do anything cool for Halloween. I have to say, so for me, I always kind of do the bald guy costume thing for, this has been my jam. I was Mr. Clean. Last year I was Joe Rogan, you know what I'm saying? This year, Charlie Brown. I got to say though, man, Charlie Brown, I don't think, this is going to be a one-time thing. Charlie Brown, I immediately regretted the first time when I put the costume on, because Charlie, man, he's soft. You know what I'm saying? Halloween's an opportunity to level up a little bit, right? That's why the chicks are like, oh, I'm gonna wear something sexy that I can't just wear a stewardess outfit. I'm just, Jen, let me get the point. Let me get my point done. You know what I'm saying? Dudes are like, all right, cool. I'm gonna rock a toga. I'm gonna do something. I've been in the gym. I'm gonna let people know I've been working out. I'm gonna be somebody that I'm gonna be Batman, Charlie Brown is not it, man. You know what I'm saying? He's too soft, dude. Lucy slaps him around.
My wife wouldn't let me be P. Diddy with my jail outfit.
You should. That's the other option I was thinking of. You should. Now I got to take back all the baby oil. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly. That's what I literally had, like 5 things of baby oil I have my prison outfit, and then I was just going to put a P. Diddy, and she told me that it was racist and I shouldn't. So
Yeah. It's
I went
racist
with
against
the second best
baby oil.
option, the weatherman.
I love that. I think that to me it's timely, you know. But yeah, I got to say, you know, Charlie Brown is pretty soft. So I don't know. I don't think this is going to be a one-time thing. But so
Especially after a bird shit on your head like that.
Exactly.
well, that's what I mean. It's like, why does Charlie Brown have one little? He's not a fucking baby. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, why does he have the one thing of hair like a baby? He's not a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got like a crib and a dog and like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's like basically he has a job, and yet he's like, you know, he's like Captain Underpants. You know, your kids ever watch Captain Underpants? It's like he's like that. You know, Captain Underpants is cooler. Charlie Brown is on some other shit. Like he's, you know what I mean? He's soft as hell. Charlie, you got to get it together, Charlie. You know, one day I'd like him to put.
Yet you chose that costume.
That's what I'm saying. Instant regret. You know what I mean? I'm like, of all the things, you know, I could have been The Rock. I could have been fucking Black Adam, dog. And instead, I'm Charlie Brown. You know?
Yeah, but it's kind of like a misspelled domain. You would have had to been explaining it forever.
I guess that's also, I guess, a good call on the costume. If you have to explain who you are, you know what I'm saying? Then
all roads lead to domains.
All roads lead to domains.
See how I set that up for you, JT, to keep rolling to domains?
Yeah, and we can look. Let's we've got the NameJet list, so why don't we dive into that, and then we can get into some other. We'll talk about some other domain stuff if we want to get into if we want to do that. So let's go ahead and did you guys have the list? It's a big list. I put like 20 names on there so that we'd have plenty of stuff to talk about.
All right, let's see.
All right, so you can mark this on the Billy. Put it on the. Oh no, Jen's like, what? I haven't gotten
What
it.
list?
It's the list
Hang
of
on.
domains that we send every single show. It's like Drew when it's like, oh, hey, we're playing a domain game. And he's like, oh, right. I got a name. I got to figure this out. It's like you buy and sell
Stop
domains.
yelling at me, Jonathan.
I'm not. I'm yelling at Drew. I'm pivoting this to Drew. You know what I'm saying? Drew is like my Lucy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Like,
kidding.
you know, that's where I'm at. You know, I'm like, I'll tell you something, Lucy. Right? That's the one who pulls the football, right? Every time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drewsy.
Drewsy.
I don't know. You guys, Sherpaween, what's up?
All right, Braden, you get to go clown posse, insane clown posse.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Insane Clown Pilot.
All right. Well, what we've got here is we've got some one-word nets and orgs, which
We do. Definitely have some.
I
some
like. Got magician.net and ensemble.org, seniors.org, sunny.net. I mean, these are all strong, right? I mean, are you gonna you're not gonna win the lottery with any of these, but if you can buy them for a decent price, you can get a multiple on them because it's a good alternative to the .com, which all of those in the .com are going to be 7 figures, right? So you pick these up for a couple of grand. It's a no-brainer.
And if a guy in a clown wig and a pilot hat is telling you, then it's got to be true.
Yeah, look at the serious face.
Insane Clown Pilot. That's really good. I like that. So out of all of those, so let's do this. Why don't you kind of hone in on the nets and orgs here, and because they're about 3 and 3, and I agree with you. I mean, there are obviously some good one words and that kind of stuff. Out of all of those, which one is your favorite on the list?
Probably Magician. Let me see the searches.
And I like that one a lot just for Halloween's purposes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, I mean, I picked Magician and it's got the highest search volume. Interestingly, Sunny has the second highest search volume. That's interesting. So Magician. I just like Magician. It's good. It could be for magicians, right? Like any magician or magic, anything, or just a brand.
Mm-hmm.
Sunny's a good brand too, like Sunny D.
Sunny D. Yeah, I like Sunny as a brand a lot. And yeah, Magician's interesting. You know, I remember when we were at ICANN LA, and we're going to talk a little bit about ICA and ICANN and upcoming stuff. You know, we'll run through that in the closing. But they did they had one of the registry, I think it was Radix, maybe had the registry had a party at the Magic Castle. Is that what it is? Is it the Magic Castle, Braden, in Hollywood?
Yep.
And that was an awesome event. You talk about a cool event and something to do. That was really, really neat because it was beyond just like because there was like a magic show here, and then you're roaming around, and some dude's doing some card trick that was like the coolest trick I'd ever seen, and it just happened to be happening in like over here, like randomly. That was super, super cool. As an LA guy, do you ever go to the Magic Castle? Is that ever your jam? Do you have like a
very, very rare occasion, like once every 10 years.
okay?
But it's cool. I mean, every time I go, I'm like, I should do this more often. And then I wait 10 years.
And you're like, but why would I do that?
That was literally the last time I was drunk. I mean, because you drink in every room, right? You have a pre-drink, and then you go to 4 rooms, I think we went to, and I had a couple drinks in each room, thinking that I didn't realize we were going to go 4 places. I kind of timed it, or I thought I timed it. And you go to the next room, and I'm like, okay, I'll have another. By the 4th room, I thought, I'm in trouble. Like, I'm in deep trouble.
On the 4th room, he's like, I can't read my watch anymore.
On the 4th room, it didn't matter what magic trick, I was going to be amazed. I mean, he could have literally just put on his jacket, and I would have stood up to clap. I was toast. And I'm
based
dead
on the
serious.
trick that you were doing of making alcohol disappear.
Yeah, no, I felt horrible the next. I didn't throw up or anything that bad, but I just remember that's literally the last time that I got to the point where I thought, this is not good. I've been other places that I've drank, but that's the last time I got over the line that you're supposed to get at. So, but those were the days, right? Playboy Mansion, Magic Castle. I think that was the same weekend, really. I think
It might have been. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was like, think about this. This is what conferences used to look like. We had dinner under the space shuttle. We had Kim Kardashian talk. We went to the Magic Castle, and we went to a party at the Playboy Mansion. That's a solid weekend. Like, that's a solid,
kind of a solid lifetime for a lot of folks. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of boxes being checked right there.
That's not a special occasion. That's just living in LA.
Yeah. Ooh, snap. Insane Clown Pilot breaking it down. I feel you. All right, well, cool. All right. And then out of this list of orgs and nets, what's your least favorite?
My least favorite, by the way, I'm leaving your ad here for somebody else. My least favorite is, it might be Ensemble. I mean, I like Ensemble, but it's one of those, it's a 50-cent word. Not everybody can spell it. So that's probably my least favorite. But it's a short list, so I still like it.
All right, cool. All right, Jen, how about you? What do you like, don't like? What do you think is I know you deal with high-level domains so much that these names aren't so exciting, but...
But
yes, speak then.
Oh, thank you. I like Sunny. It's just nice. Nice brand. Not a huge fan of nets or orgs, but yeah, there is value there, and you are going to make some sales if you choose the right ones. Yeah, Magician is nice. Seniors.org. I don't even mind like home remodels. I think that there are like quite a few different variations of that could work as well though. So yeah, whether you do like remodels, renovation, whatever keyword you want to put in there. That's probably about it for me, I think.
All right, Shane, our trusted weather guy, what do you think? I mean, what is the forecast for these domains?
I think there's some headwinds on a couple of them, but But
Great.
other than that, I think there's some value. Like, I sold yourlogohere.com because I felt like it worked well in advertising. I think your ad here on billboards is amazing name, right? When you're trying to sell you see it all the time, right? An empty billboard, and they've got some kind of wording to try and get you to buy space. I can't think of anything more memorable than that being on a billboard or even on a website. I just think it's a great name, and I don't think it'll go for that much. And I think there's some possibilities there. Seniors.org is obviously generic, but it's pretty open vessel, and it's a huge category. Like literally, the whole world has gotten old since my dad's generation is large. So I think that I don't know the resale value, but I think the opportunity there is obviously huge. I like
the math on because remember seniors.com. So I think it was Paige's name, right? Seniors.com.
I don't know, but
He sold that in auction a ways back. I'm pretty sure it was the plural, and it sold for 7 figures.
Yeah, I mean, and org works really well, right? Like that's org in that term. So solid name. That's one of my favorite names on there. Deadheads is a fun one. I don't think that's trademarked for the Grateful Dead, but obviously that's what they're called. That's that you would think that category or that group would be dying because they've gotten so old, but man, Fish and Widespread Panic and Deadheads, they just keep rolling. The next generation have found all of them. So I think that one could be a really fun. I don't think the name is the value. The build out's probably more there than the actual name. And then I'll end with like local growers. I think people are still, even after COVID, are still thinking about locally grown food, locally grown plants, locally grown things. So I think local growers is a solid name for anything that has to do with plant wise or food. It's a solid list. I mean, even the other ones aren't bad. Titan Corp is probably my least favorite. I think Lau would like it, but that's about it.
Titan Research.
I mean, so a couple of things on these.
Just following up. Sorry, I just looked up. So seniors.com, Page did sell it 12 years ago, back in 2012 for 1.8 million.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know Page was rolling like that. No wonder that's how he can afford CFB.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, he also sold guy.com for $1 million at some point years ago.
Man, the guy's got he's got 7 and 8 figures and loves the pennies.
Hey, that's how you make them. That's how they take a lot of pennies, but that's how you get there. Couple of quick things. So about deadheads.com, I think to your point, it's interesting that the younger generation, still very much, I don't know if it's so much, it's also the younger generation. Also, you've got the older folks that, have been successful, so many of these like old CEOs or like ex hippies and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you even got some people in the domain space that are big into the dead.
Mark
Bill
Daniel.
Lesh. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Fish, he's into that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he went and saw Fish in the Vegas. It's funny. I grew up with a bunch of hippies. To me, it was never my jam. I never really got into that stuff. But I appreciated how much they liked it, if that makes sense. Like it was never my cup of hippie tea, but it was. But Phil Lesh, who was the bassist and one of the founding members of the Grateful Dead, just passed away like this week. And I mean, that guy was a G when it came to, you talk about music and success and, long-standing success in the music industry. And what I always loved about the Dead was more so than their music was just the imagery and stuff was cool. Like they were like a movement, right? It was like literally culturally so big and impactful. And, and I think that to me is just, more telling about just how much people love what they did. And,
something that doesn't change through time, and that's culture, right? So culture will always continue to be the most important thing when it comes to whether branding or social. And Dead was probably the biggest culture ever in music, if you really want to look at longevity and number of people. I mean, all through 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they still can sell out 100,000 person stadium, everybody still has the same culture of free weed sharing. Like, what is it? A miracle, like giving out tickets to other people that want to
Oh,
show.
yeah. Can I get a miracle?
Can I
Yeah.
get a
So I actually
miracle?
I've been to a Dead show. So I went to Meadowlands, night 2, whatever, back in the day. This was in 95,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, this is how long ago it was. And I remember I got separated from my group, and I go up to some hippie dude, shirtless, like, like they're all like, I mean, it was crazy. And I'm like, hey man, do you know where section, I'm trying to find like the section 25 or whatever, He's like, nah, man, no, I don't know, man. I don't know. Want a sandwich? You know what I'm saying? It was just like the vibe was so communal and so positive that it was like, aside from like, a lot of people who could probably use a shower, but
Literally
like,
the
the
safest
vibe was cool.
100,000 people you can be in, right? Like, if you're going to be in 100,000 people, there's literally no drinking. About as safe as you're going to get. So
Oh,
it's probably
dude,
the reason we
really?
have legalized marijuana. Is like, that's a perfect example. Nobody's going to get hurt when you smoke.
Well, and I'll tell you, probably the only place that might be safer would be like a Taylor Swift concert. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, it's all good.
He's probably the only person that sells more tickets. Honestly, if you look at the overall income, I would say Taylor's probably number one, and Dead's got to be in the top 5. So,
well, I think about friends of mine who were like, "Oh yeah, what are you doing this summer?" "Oh, I'm touring with I'm touring with Fish. I'm touring with the Dead." And it's like, "Oh, okay, like you're like on the staff, like no, we just following them show to show. It's a vibe. Like we got our tents and our our miracles, and we just
literally every branding company or anybody trying to establish something looks at that community, and that's what they're trying to build, right? They're trying to build a community. It's
that is like the original OG community.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, good stuff. I'm trying to see if there's any that we didn't otherwise kind of mention that might be worth talking about. But I think the your ad here thing, to me, it's got an S about it. Literally, like it was like sub $100. It was one of those things where, but I think your ad here, like you said, it's pretty like standard billboard. Like if I'm a billboard company, why wouldn't you just name yourself that? You know what I'm saying? Like it just seems like such a fit, such an on brand kind of fit, which I think is pretty cool. So, all right, well, that's what's up. So we have covered the list. Shout out to NameJet. Go to the you can go to the Domain Sherpa page for this particular episode. Download the Excel spreadsheet that has the list of domains, the Esterbot appraisals, how many back orders as of the time that we recorded the show, when the domain, the end of that particular back order date for that domain. So if you want to make sure you're following it, if you're interested, and links. But those are not affiliate links, so do what you do. Not financial advice, but either way, all good. And thanks to our friends at NameJet. That's what's up. NameJetGonnaJet.
Media Options is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, Media Options offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. Media Options believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
All right, well, cool. So let's talk a little bit. I mentioned it before. We're talking about some of the domain space stuff. We've got conferences and things coming up. What's crazy is it's going to be November in like 2 days, which is like 2024 is almost a wrap. We're about to start seeing all those top whatever lists of 2024 resolutions for 2025, like, just all that. Not to mention the election, which is about to go down in like a week, which is going to be also crazy. Shit is just crazy out there. So it is an interesting time for sure, but we are going to be in 2025 before we know it. And I know we've got the ICA meeting happening in Vegas in January, which is going to be a lot of fun. I know we're going to be there. Billy will be there. I'll be there. Is everybody here? Are you all going?
Yeah. And D3 is having an event then the following day. So it'll be ICA, and then D3 will have more of a blockchain oriented domain. Pardon me?
Web3.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to call it. I like the term. I understand the term, but that's I don't know. To me, it drives people away when you say Web3 on things. Domains are domains, right? They're either domains or they're not domains. It's pretty simple. There's no such thing as a web domain. It's a domain. It's either a wallet address or it's a domain. There's nothing beyond that. You can make it whatever you want, but that's my feeling on it.
All right. Well, that's what's up. So D3 is going to have their thing. And then Domains, is it Domain Summit is also looking to try to schedule something? Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, because theirs was going to be a couple days after, I think.
Yeah.
Which
I think it was a couple of weeks, and then there was a lot of pushback because people are like, I'm not going to go to Vegas, fly out, and then come back, and I'm not going to stay in Vegas for 2 weeks. So it was too far apart, and so it was just too much of a conflict.
All right, well, that's good. I think that's smart on their part. Yeah, because 2 weeks in Vegas is like legit, like
a month in anywhere else.
I mean, or longer, right? Like it's like shit. I just aged by 3 years in 2 weeks in Vegas. I don't know if anybody who doesn't live in Vegas, like Amar, has actually spent 2 weeks in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that might we might be setting records for people who don't live in Vegas for the longest stay in Vegas. So that's
but the
good.
future of conferences are breakoffs. Like if you went to Token 2049 in Singapore, you saw the main event and then you saw these little breakoffs before and after. And that's really successful as long as the window is not too large, because it gives you an opportunity to do the main thing. And then it gives you an opportunity to go off to do anything in particular or specialize. It's really effective. It's almost too big because there was 50,000 people at Token. That's a bit. I mean, I felt like I was just taking a Grab or whatever their Uber is called back and forth to all these different events. But that being said, amazing choice of things to learn about and people to meet. So I think domain conferences may go that route. Like you'll have a main event of 3, and then you might have 2 or 3 other days of individual break-off type events. And that gives people really good value. And at the same time, one person doesn't have to pay for everything, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think for the user and the attendee, that's a really good model going forward, is to get the most out of it without having one entity charge you a fortune to try and put it all on. So I think we're going to see more of this in the future.
That's what's up. Jen, are you going?
Yes.
It's 4:00 in the morning where I am. I'm going to give you the succinct answer. All right, well, that's cool.
Woke her up.
Are you? I know she's like, oh right, I forgot where I was. Did you are you spending more time in the US? Are you just coming and going? What's your plan for all that?
For this one, I'm not gonna do what I did in Austin, because that was just insanity. Because I did like a 72-hour turnaround, and that was, I spent just as much time traveling as I did that I was there. So I am going to try and do like maybe a couple of days before ICA show, and then stay a couple of days after. So it will be a long time in Vegas. It'll be the longest I think I've ever stayed in Vegas. I think the longest I've stayed there's been like 5 days, but I think I'll be there about 7 or 8. And so I think that's going to be a lot, but see how we go.
Go. All right, well, that's what's up. So, all right, well, cool. So D3's got the event that's going to tag on to the ICA event, so that's dope. And then I know that we've got the ICANN Seattle coming up in March, which is another one that I would like to go to. I think that one's going to be good.
Isn't Istanbul this week? Isn't Istanbul next week? I mean,
maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's right
I'm
after.
just thinking about the stuff I'm going to, Shane. The other stuff.
yeah. No, that's, I mean,
As far as I'm
of
concerned.
course. That's what I meant to say.
Hold on, let's check real quick.
You're like, am I going to Istanbul? Like, you just looking at
Yeah, exactly. Wait, am I in Istanbul?
I think it starts the 9th. So the
Yep, you're right. November 9th.
yeah. So Dubai conference ends on the 8th, and then next one starts on the 9th. I don't think that's an accident.
No, okay, yeah, and then it's the community forum. So that's the general meeting. That's like the big one. That's happening in Istanbul, like you said, like in a week or so. And then we've got the Seattle one in March, which I think is going to be good. And you got Prague in June, and then Muscat. Am I an idiot for not knowing where that is? That's Saudi Arabia or what?
Where?
Muscat?
What country is that?
Is that the capital of Oman?
Oh yeah, it's Oman, right?
Come on.
Sorry, Oman.
Yeah, it's Oman, which
And that's
I have been to.
Now, well, that's next year's general meeting, so that's a big one. That's gonna be a big one. So, and then all right, and then last one, and then we'll kind of round. We'll close up because we got about 8 minutes left. And then what's going on with NamesCon this coming year? Is that back in Austin, or are they moving it?
No, they're moving it, and they're right now. I think they're still kind of in the middle of the big conference that they put on, or maybe recovering from it.
Like what host?
That big hosting thing, but they're moving it. They're talking about moving it to LA or San Diego.
Ooh, okay.
So I don't
World Hosting Days, right? Isn't that their?
It's not booked yet.
LA or San Diego also in the summertime? Or are they going to keep it? Is it going to end up at potentially a different time?
They're looking at different dates as well. So totally, I have no announcements because it's up in the air. They're looking.
All right. Very cool. All right. Well, let's go around the horn and do the rest of our grand closing. Rob Marciano, our weather guy, on location live and putting his life at risk to get you guys information you need to stay safe out there.
Is it just me? Does no one else know who Rob Marciano is?
I don't know. Well, I didn't know who he was.
Nobody knows who he is. That's why they laid him off from Good Morning America. Like literally, like it's Ginger Z and Al Roker. That's really literally. Can you name 2 other weather people besides that, or even I don't even know if you named those 2.
There was one in LA for many, many years called Dallas Rains. How are you going to forget that?
Dallas Rains, man.
Which studio did he film for?
When I was a kid, the guy back home was named Vince Sweeney, and they used to be Vince said it would be like this. That was his tagline. So it was like Vince said it would be like this. Thanks, Vince. And that was that was back in the day of like traditional like TV news. You know what I mean?
Well, it's really the only thing people watch live are sports and news anymore. So I'm
gonna make a movie reference, which I never do, but Charlie, you're gonna appreciate this. Do you remember the movie LA Story? And with Martin, and he was a weatherman, and he pre-recorded because it was always sunny.
The same weather every time.
He's like, it's gonna be 72 degrees. And then it'd be like a rainstorm, but they still run the clip and 72 and sunny today.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know who Nick Kosier is? And he's the guy who does he's like a TikTok dancing weather dude.
Oh yeah.
I like that dude.
He was on Saturday Night Live the other day. I saw that they had mocked.
They spoofed him and stuff on Saturday Night Live, and he's pretty slick with it, man. I like that dude. He's funny, and So if you don't know who he is, I would look him up. Nick Kosier.
He's got good suits. His suits always fit him really well. That's
he's a super slick, cool dude, man, and he's got moves. You know what I'm saying? So I got to shout out to my homie.
No,
Nick,
but he doesn't get out here in the real weather like I am today, Charlie. He doesn't do this. He dances. I just can't afford to dance because I've got to bring the real weather to the people. So
can't dance in the waves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just.
No, so I went to Lisbon last week and got to see Drew. It's so nice to see, people in person, got to see him. It makes you want to be a better domainer when you go visit him and see his crib, and you just say
setup will definitely,
I need to go sell more domains. As soon as I'm done, having coffee with him, I'm going home to work on my domain portfolio. So
he's got a great setup there for sure.
And as a nurseryman, he's got 20, 30-foot lemon and lime trees just covered with 500 lemons. And, he doesn't talk about that on the show, but I go there and I just look at that and Florida, California, they have lemon trees, but Portugal's lemon trees are amazing. And then when I talk to other people in Portugal, that's a prize asset. Literally the first thing they do when they buy a home is plant a lemon or a lime tree to try and get it to be of size. And here Drew has the most prized possession in all of Lisbon. They're 2 giant, beautiful trees. So it was cool to see, but it's just good to like shake the hand, give a hug of friends that you work with for years. And yeah, he came to Austin, but there's something about being like when I was with Braden, sitting and sleeping on his beanbag chair and sitting on Drew and
Sharing
sitting
a
on
bed
the
with
couch.
him,
It's just
you
a
know,
different
having
vibe,
breakfast
man.
in the
It's like,
morning together. I mean, those are moments, man. It's important.
yeah, I
I
mean,
got
think
pictures.
about
Let me see
this.
pictures
Internet
of-
friends become real friends. That's just, you know, when you're little kids, if you'd have thought you met somebody on a computer and you become real friends with them and travel across the world, it's just to me, I don't take that shit for granted. Like that's the real deal. It's pretty cool. So, oh no, he's bringing up me sleeping on
Oh.
his. That literally is the most. I was looking online as soon as I got home to see if I could get one of those.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too, Shane. Because as soon as I like fell into it, I was just like, I need one of these in my life. But then I'm like, it's so massive. Like, where are you going to put it?
It's
It's
literally
massive.
half the room.
All right. So, well, yeah, because you were there for 8 Fest. It looked like 8 Fest was awesome. I actually was pretty bummed I missed it. You know, I talked, you know, Drew and I were talking about it. It was going to be one of those things where it was, you know, just timing wise didn't work with some of the other stuff we got going on. And, but, you know, they just
I'm
announced
seeing the new future of what,
I mean, all this stuff, man.
yeah, what events look like, right? So, you know, blockchain events and even domain parties were like party. And now they're again really evolving. There was the setups were cool. It was an old church, lots of different rooms. So if you didn't really want to go see, like we saw Anderson .Paak was the
Oh yeah.
he was
He's like a DJ, right?
amazing. Pardon me?
I mean, he was the DJ. Did he perform?
And he
or
played
did-
drums too, sang a couple songs.
Oh yeah. He's an amazing artist. I mean, he's really
Yeah,
legit.
and
Bless you, Jen.
and what was the other guy? The guy, oh shoot. I always know he's on the Kardashians. He was dating a Kardashian, but that's terrible. I can't think of the name. But anyway, that was a good event. And then like another event I went to in California in Idlewild was amazing. It was a mix of culture and art and blockchain. And the first part was Base Camp, which was a base like an incubator type 3 or 4 days. And then it evolved into this clothing and culture and art. And they had like, you know, different artists and different themes. And it was just a really interesting, like consumer facing event, but yet a building event. And if you wanted to talk, you could go to a place and talk. And if you wanted to party, you go to a party. And I think that's where things are going, right? Something for everybody, a cool vibe, not just straight up drinking. I think our conferences are getting pretty fun and worth going to now. It's not cheap still. I mean, you're paying big events, but 8 Fest was that. Last year was on a runway with flashing, burning eyeball lights, and this year was just a different vibe. And so I've been to a lot of blockchain conferences, and that's what it is. I mean, I still saw Diplo in Singapore, so there's that kind of party event. But then there's other ones where they just 1,000 people in a room, break out. You can talk to people and have a couple beers. I think it's great. Like I really think there's a lot of good events around the world right now.
Awesome. Well, that was kind of the theme of this, you know, sort of second half of the show. So I think that's that all ties in perfect, man. And yeah, I heard it was great, and I think some of what's coming out of that, you know, I mean, Web3, whatever, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you're seeing chain abstraction. You're seeing blockchain on the back end of things you just don't know about, right? Like you don't know Ticketmaster's built on Flow. You don't know that Western Union's built on I don't remember who they built on. But anyway, Ripple. Yeah, it's built on Ripple. Like that's what you're seeing in the future. I think you're going to see that with domains too, right? We're just going to have more things that we can do on domains, and there's going to be blockchain built. You're just not going to know. You just know it's going to be faster, cheaper, less commission. That's what our world's going to look like.
Options of things you can do.
Yeah, that's what you're going to see in
More
the future when
optionality.
it comes to you're not going to call it Web3. You're just going to know it works better. So
just gonna call
it's
it
nice to be a
light.
part of it, right? That's where digital assets and all of us to understand what's going on behind the scenes and how things are going to get better. We can make a little money on it too, even better.
Yeah, but nobody cares how the sausage is made. They just want it to work. I mean, how many
100%.
people drive a car and they've never popped the hood? They don't know what's going on under there. Doesn't matter.
100%. They don't
It's
really
funny,
need to
so
know.
We're talking, you know, with my kids a little bit about, you know, at some point they'll potentially drive a car, right? And it's like, although I don't know that they're kind of idiots, so I'm not 100% sure that, you know, we're going to take that step. But
Did you just call your kids idiots?
yes, I did.
You know this is being filmed, right?
Yeah, it'll come back around. It's all good. They know I love them, but they're idiots.
Do they ever watch the show? Do they
It's
ever watch the show?
They do, and their friends will watch it sometimes. They'll be like, "Oh, your buddy Drew said," they love the rants. You know what I'm saying? Like the cursing and the talking shit. Like that's their favorite stuff. So they'll be like, "Oh," because a couple of my buddies who are their kids are friends of my kids are also they watch the show. So sometimes they'll be in the car listening or whatever, and like, "Hey, I heard you." So they so they're tuning in all over the place. You know what I mean? And
I still can't believe you called your kids idiot. I mean, I guess chip off the old block, right?
exactly right. Hey, look, all I'm trying to do is keep them from making the same choices and mistakes that I did. You know what I'm saying? So that they don't end up like looking like Charlie Brown on a podcast.
A turd on
I
his
am here with
forehead.
friends that and you guys make it worth it. So it's all good.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point is that I'm trying to explain to them like, how cars work, how the whole thing, like, how to drive. And one of the things that came up was stick shift versus automatic, and that's a kind of an example of like people don't care how it works, right? Unless you want to drive a stick because hey, it's cool, or
Or you move to Europe and you don't have a choice.
do they still drive a lot of stick shifts? Like
All
still a lot of stick shifts?
literally 9 out of every 10 cars, even $100,000 cars, are still stick. They prefer it.
Why?
I guess they just don't even think about it, right? Like the stick shifts today don't shift like when we were kids. Remember, we used to have to find the gear. You
yeah.
don't have to find the gear anymore. But on the hills of Portugal, it literally was my worst nightmare sitting at a light on a hill on a stick shift, knowing that I was going to have to get in gear and not hit the car behind me and roll or stall it. And in Europe, they just don't even think about it. Like they're just really good drivers. And today, like this is last week, not 20 years ago.
Right.
They're really good drivers, or you're just not good drivers?
No, really good stick shift drivers. Driving, I would probably not say the best drivers, but
well, and if you drive a stick in Europe or in England, right, in the UK, you're on the wrong side of the car, so you're shifting with your left hand, dude. I mean,
that's the other thing I never thought about. Yeah. And then in Singapore, here, let me tell you one thing. In Singapore, in order to have a car in Singapore, it is $100,000 to own over 10 years. It doesn't matter if the car breaks down, it goes with the car. So they value their cars. They've paid $100,000 just to have the right to own it. So they don't mess around with how they keep good control of it.
So you got to pay that, you pay basically like a license, and then you pay for the car on top of that?
And the car. So like when you go to an Uber, the guy was telling me his monthly was $3,300 a month for his car, that he had to drive a lot of Ubers to make up for that. And I go, $3,300. And then everybody explained, every time I got in a car there, the one guy goes, this is $122,000 car, $100,000 for the license, $22,000 for the car.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is what if the stick shift piece, it makes it more complicated. It makes it more responsive, right? You can get faster, quicker, and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, is that the intent?
It was only in Europe. I mean, like Hong Kong and Asia, I never saw a stick shift. It seemed to be only in UK. And that's a good question. I can't answer that, but it was prevalent because I just looked down because nobody drives stick except for us farmers, right? Like only
like tractors. And when I had a job working landscaping for a golf course as a kid, like the tractor car things that the vehicles were all stick shift, like little and we loved driving them. They were like so much fun to just buzz around the course and like do that stuff. And it's actually how I learned to drive a stick shift, although I never had a stick car, because again, it's almost like if you can get an automatic, why do you want a stick shift? And is it just purely based off of like a performance thing, or is it that you enjoy
probably
it because it gives
or availability? I don't know. Like today, the only people that drive stick other than Europeans are in the United States. You're either a farm kid or your dad owns a Porsche or a Ferrari. Like there's no in between. There's nobody else knows how to drive a stick.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, and for Jen, do they drive cars in Australia? And if they do, if they're not just crocodile powered things like the Flintstones or something, what I'm saying?
Yes, no. I've learned to drive
standard
a
or
manual.
No.
A manual.
Yeah,
we call them a manual here. And it was an old like 56 Cooper S, and getting that thing into gear, like it was so old. Shane, you would know. I would have to like go underneath the hood to connect the starter. You know how you used to have to do that? Like that was my first car at uni. And now I have another Mini now, except she's a twin turbo. And I teach people lessons here every day. So
There
I
you
need
go.
to do that.
Is it a
Let 'em know.
standard though?
Is
It's
it
a
a stick though
manual.
or an automatic?
No, well, it's an automatic, but it's got the sports mode thing
Paddle
in
shifting,
it
yeah.
with so you can put it into a manual because it's a European car. Like I think they've got that. You can either have it as automatic or manual. I don't know how it works.
We have that. Like all the
Yeah, I don't know.
Subarus. If you drive in the snow, you have to move to paddle shifting or gear shifting.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a car like that too. I can't remember. I think it was a BMW, or you could do either one.
Yeah.
I
And
learned to
people don't
drive
think
on
about it,
on a
but
stick.
it's important.
I had a Volkswagen Passat that had like an option where you could kind of move the shifter over and do the up and down deal, you know? So it was kind of how it worked. And so, yeah, well, interesting stuff. So that was how we got to that conversation was talking about how people they don't necessarily care how the sausage is made. It's just the fact that things work, right? And as the plumbing and all of the things in the internet, and obviously tying everything into all of what we've been talking about as Web3, and just adding the functionality, adding the ease, proving different aspects of it, trying to avoid scams and all that other stuff, because that's always you got to have good OPSEC, protect your wallets and all that stuff, because it does get kind of crazy out there. But I love what I'm seeing coming out of like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I think with Ape Chain and all the other stuff, Ape Names, everything you guys are doing. I mean, there's really some neat stuff happening there.
Yeah, there's I mean, again, I love what Adam's doing. GoDaddy Boost has been great for me. I don't have any problem saying it. Like my sales, once I went to Boost, I probably have 5x the leads that I had. I could complain about that I wasn't getting anything before. Same with Adam. Adam's crushing it. I'm doing well there. But the reality is 30% commission on anything. It doesn't matter if it's a domain, a home, a car, any asset at 30% commission has to come down. Like just has to come down. So if blockchain can solve that, even better. If some guy in Idaho can invent something that makes it cheaper and still is efficient, then we need that too. But the reality is there's nothing in this world that I can think of anything I've ever done that has a 30% commission. So that's got to change. So I feel comfortable saying that.
All right, cool.
But that doesn't mean I'm not happy. Like I appreciate the sales versus nothing. I've gotten more sales this month than I have in the last 2 years. And it's because of GoDaddy and Adam doing a really good job. So from that, let's start with that. I'm happy with that. Now let's
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty busy. Market's been pretty hot. I don't know if, so it's interesting if you're attributing it to stuff they're doing specifically, and hearing that Boost is working for you is also very interesting. So are you doing Boost?
It could be pure chance. I mean, it's one of those things. Maybe it's the market, maybe it's them. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Sure. Braden, are you boosting?
I am boosting.
Are you having the same sort of level of success?
It's the thing is there are so many variables. So yes, I'm seeing more sales. I'm seeing more inquiries. A lot of the inquiries are crazy nonsense where I'm getting like, here's an offer for Gemma.com, $85 million.
Sweet. I would accept that. I would take it. That's a good one.
Collect.
You like.
And yeah, I own buffet.com and that gets tons and tons of inquiries. Like every day there's 10 inquiries and the offers are always over $3 million, which clearly it means something else, right? Somebody's putting in some sort of
well, yeah, Jimmy Buffett, dog.
Number or something. I don't know what country it's coming from.
Isn't it? It could be big fans of Jimmy Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. So I'm seeing more action, but the thing is, the variable is the Dan integration. So it could be that with the Dan integration, what they've done is they've taken all the old Dan leads and started outbounding them, right? And so we're seeing that there's some sort of interaction, but it could be just like, oh, that's a 5-year-old lead, and then they sent an email out. So
which I'll take, right? Versus not doing it, I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
All right, well, cool. So that'll be interesting. We'll probably have to at some point. We'll do a show, bringing a couple of y'all on to talk about some of that a little bit more specific, and into some of the weeds to the extent that we can. Because it'd be cool to understand if that's working for real. And but awesome, congratulations, Shane. That's great.
Yeah,
man, I knew you had Club.
Happy.
We've talked about a few of the others, but yeah. That's what's up. All right, Jen, what about you? What else you got going on?
Not much. I'm going on retreat in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Are you in Australia or are you traveling out of country?
On Byron Bay. And so, yeah.
Is that in Oman?
That's Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. Be good to have a little bit of a digital detox and a break. And then, because like all of you guys, you would know, like this time of year, it's just ridiculously crazy. And you hit November and all the holidays and getting ready for Christmas and the New Year. And for us, our schooling system's different to yours. So school finishes at the end of the year. So we're like, it's not mid-break for us. Like, so yeah, my youngest, he'll go on holidays. He gets like 6-7 weeks holidays.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
That's cool.
It's crazy.
Are you guys, so
We
is
get in
it,
the
so,
summer. We have the same thing.
so is stuff extra? Yeah, that's true. So is stuff extra very busy for you guys as well, at least through these last, 2 months or so?
Yeah, it's up and down. I mean, we've definitely seen activity. And it's funny, I think like I'm hearing it from a few other people, like coming really close to really big deals and then just not getting them over the line, or working on something and it's just being dragged out. So, but it's getting to that time of the year again as well. I find come like November 1st, it gets a little bit quieter. Just because everyone goes away, people are taking holidays.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's been crazy. This last week's been a little slower, just a little quieter. Could also be because Drew's traveling, so naturally it's just a little quieter. But all right, cool. Well, that's what's up. And then Braden, last but not least, the insane clown pilot. What about you, dude?
Just getting ready to take off for Dubai in a couple of days.
See, we didn't talk. We're talking conferences. We didn't talk about that one. That's another one coming up here, and that's next week, right?
Yeah, it starts Monday, so I fly out on Sunday. Yeah, well, the first dinner is Monday night, which that's when I arrive. So I leave here Sunday afternoon. I arrive Monday night. It's a long flight, really long flight. And so then I'll be there from the 4th through the 8th, and then I go to ICANN the 8th through the 13th.
Cool. Yeah, the Dubai, there's gonna be a right at the dot auction, so Monty and Scott will be doing their thing. So shout out to them. So that's cool. And
a lot of domains that are like .ae and like MENA focused domains.
Very cool. Yeah, well, you can go to bid.rotd.com. I might as well give those guys the plug.
Shout out.
bid.rotd.com and check out the list of names, and checking that out right now. So there's a lot of stuff on there. That's cool. Good
So I'll be moderating 3 panels, and then I'll be pretending to attend that conference, and really I'll just be cruising around in Istanbul.
I like that.
Which I've been in. Istanbul is a great city.
Cool.
So
Istanbul and Constantinople.
If anybody is thinking about going to the Istanbul conference, you should do it. It's a great location.
All right.
So I got.
Cool. All right. Well, good stuff. All right. Well, thank you guys. This was awesome. I really appreciate you spending Sherpaween with me and Snoopy, who's just been chilling, laid back the whole time in the back. He's just lounging. But yeah, I mean, I got nothing else other than just to say thanks to you guys for being here and taking the time.
What have you got going on, Jonathan? What have you got going on, Jonathan?
Oh, well,
no one's
thanks,
asked
Jen.
you.
It's funny. I never thought you'd ask. No, actually, I mean, we've got a bunch of things going on. We're crazy busy. We got some big deals that we're either, have just recently closed or we're working on closing. So that's all good. We've got a pretty interesting, cool, thing that we're doing that kind of like a partnership kind of thing. That's kind of cool that we'll be talking about next week more. So we're excited about that. And yeah, I think that's really it. Other than that, it's just getting ready for we're going to get into holiday mode soon. And, we're super busy at the crib. Kids, who I guess I'm sorry, boys, for calling you idiots. You guys aren't idiots. You're the best. But they're good.
We
We're
love
doing a
you,
lot
Braden and Jackson. You can come to Australia and live with me. Come to Australia. with
Speaking
me.
of which, it's
Right.
my daughter's 25th birthday today. So happy birthday,
Oh.
Livy. I forgot.
Oh, Livy, happy birthday.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
can't believe I have a 25-year-old. JT, you'll have it soon enough. But
Crazy, dude. It
Yeah.
really goes by so fast. And obviously it's and we've been super busy with basketball. We went and caught a Florida Gator football game also last about a week ago. First time going on campus and checking that out. Shane, when you were at Alabama, did you go to a lot of games, or were you
every game. I grew up, remember I grew up in Tuscaloosa. So in the 70s, I went to all the game. And then in the 80s, while I was, I've probably been to 100 games. Bear Bryant and Saban, like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that's cool. So so that's it. Other than that, it's just we're super busy, just trying to juggle all of the things. I coach a lot of basketball, so including I am an assistant coach for a girls' high school team here in town, and we're actually going to be, knock on wood. It's a great group, super talented, and I think we're going to challenge for a state championship this year. So I think it's going to be. So we're pretty excited about that, and go Toros.
This is going to make their press junket, this little clip.
We do have some fantastic players and great kids. So we'll see how that's going to go, but we're excited about that. And just super busy. So that's what's up. Thanks for asking, Jen. Appreciate it.
That's why you have females on the panel. They actually care about others.
Yeah, I didn't care. I was like, I guess we're done, but then Jen had to.
I like.
Yeah,
As soon as we're off this, I don't even think about JT till we talk again.
Oh, it's all love. All right. So, well, listen, I appreciate you guys, all of y'all, for real. Happy Sherpaween again. And to the audience, thank you guys for tuning in. I know today we were kind of off on a handful of different tangents, but hopefully you got enough domain insight and value from the show. If not, just submit a refund request and we'll go ahead and process that ASAP and get you back the money that you paid to watch the show. And other than that, we'll see everybody. Oh, without you, there is no us, though. So for real, thank you for tuning in. And and we'll see everybody next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains and some other things. Happy Sherpaween, everybody. Please be safe out there. Look out for your friends, neighbors, family. Be excellent to each other, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Here in the forest, dark and deep, I offer you